I'm excited. I finally got something really, really cool. I got a lot of things really, really cool, but one of my favorite comics growing up was Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not the Nick Fury that you see in the movies now, like because he's from the Ultimate lines. Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, might have been what he appeared in when he became dressed like Sam Jackson. Actually, when he started to look like Sam Jackson. When I was younger, Nick Fury looked like David Hasselhoff. Or did David Hasselhoff look like Nick Fury? Anyway, it was Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It started out in a magazine called Strange Tales. Well, the early issues are they're worth money. They're not, they're grails, of course. I mean, they're Silver Age books, but if you wanted to add them to your collection, you need some money, but they're attainable. Well, I don't like to open mine. And I like Omnis. And this Omni's out of print, but I got it. This is the complete collection of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we're going to take a look at. Now, you're probably thinking, how can it be such a big collection when it was so few books? Well, see, Nick Fury started out in Strange Tales. It was a book with the Human Torch, and then it was kind of like Brave and the Bold, but you would get Human Torch, and then the second story would be Doctor Strange. And they got rid of Human Torch, but they always kept Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange was like a big hit. So in issue 135, they decided to get rid of the Human Torch, and they put in Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he was like, he's a spy, and then originally he was like a James Bond, plainclothes spy, but then he becomes in the leather blue suit and everything with the white gloves, the shield suit. And, beforehand he was in a war comic called Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. Well, the Commandos, they started to be introduced. They're now Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, of course, he's fighting Hydra, which was, everybody knows Hydra. It's like a mad scientist kind of crazy gang. And Stan Lee let Jim Steranko take care of this. And Steranko's art was so good. Like, I'll show you when you're going through the book. It was just so good, so cool. So it got so popular that when Strange Tales got canceled in, I think, like 68, they gave, they all got their own books. Strange, his books, they just kind of kept running as Strange Tales, but it was Doctor Strange. Nick Fury, they relaunched, he got #1. And the problem that happened was Steranko was doing a bunch of books at the time. And I want to say like 20 or 30 books, so he couldn't do it. So after like the 5th issues, he stopped doing it. And I think like issue 6 and 7, he still did the covers. But once he left, it went down the toilet and they canceled the series. I mean, I think it ran issue 15, and then it might have had then it had 16, 17, 18 were just Strange Tale reprints. So it didn't last really long, but the artwork by Steranko really revolutionized things. So if you want to hang tight, we're going to open this up, and we're going to take a look at all that I'm talking about. Here it is, Nick Fury, the complete S.H.I.E.L.D., the complete collection by Steranko, Kirby, and Lee. I went with the classic cover because it reminds me of David Hasselhoff. Star Baywatch Nights. Here's the back. The most raw and primal take on Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. Mr. Steranko transformed the grizzled Sergeant Nick Fury from World War II afterthought to postmodern spy, with stylish nods to expressionism, surrealism, and art and pop art in this hyperkinetic, over-the-top comic. It's psychedelic that wins the Cold War. Dana Jennings said that from the New York Times. As you can see, this reprints the whole Steranko run. You get Strange Tales 135 to 168. You get Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. 1 through 15, and you get a couple of his appearances, which is Fantastic Four 21, Tales of Suspense 78, The Avengers 72, and Marvel Spotlight #1. I always like to take off the sleeves. Now this is these older covers didn't have, like I showed you that new Phoenix that had the entire basically just jacket printed on there. Let's take a look. This one just says S.H.I.E.L.D. Omnibus. The side, there's Fury down there, classic. The sides stay the same, but yeah, just the the black S.H.I.E.L.D. Omnibus. This is one of my favorite Steranko covers of all time. And there's Nick Fury. Yep, that's what Nick Fury used to look like. And this is a really good book. The Strange Tales stuff, he was kind of like, here's our Fantastic Four. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was never a big Fantastic Four guy. Like, I didn't dislike them, but they were just kind of there. So if you're a Fantastic Four guy and I'm kind of breezing over this, don't get mad. But, there's Nick Fury, helped him out, because it was Adolf Hitler was behind it all. Then that's when Strange Tales kind of started. And as you can see here in the beginning, He's just like a standard run-of-the-mill dude. You know, I mean, he's a spy, don't get me wrong, but, you know, he's got his S.H.I.E.L.D. car, and the car shoots missiles, and the tires come down, which they incorporate in the show. There's Hydra. The Hydra look and logo and all that, that's never, ever changed. And you can see there's Fury. You know, he's a plainclothes guy, and there's, of course, there's the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier. But like I said, they're short because he was, you know, the first half of the book was Doctor Strange. Sometimes it's Fury. See, also starring Doctor Strange. Hydra's mission, destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. See, there's the Fury still playing clothes. You know, he's going to the barber shop. That's where he gets the notes. It's very Cold War, Bond-esque kind of thing. You know, the barber shop, you know, that's a way to sneak down into their secret headquarters. They have many of them. It wasn't like he just hung out at a barber shop all day. There's Strange Tales, the prize there, and there's Dum Dum Dugan from the Howling Commandos. Because, you know, Nick Fury is a good guy. He was looking out for all his buddies from the war and made sure they had jobs. He wasn't going to just fucking leave them to be eaten up by the system. He's not that kind of dude. Besides, he wanted people on his back, you know, to stop Hydra. You know, you cut off a limb and 2 more take its place. A lot of limbs on Hydra. Still around. See, he's still here. He's still wearing his little suits. Always fighting the Hydra. Luckily, he's bulletproof, you know, but Hydra can catch him. They can freeze him, but it doesn't matter. They'll shoot him into space, but they'll straitjacket him, and he was to be continued. They're a brave hero. And, you know, they're brainwashing him here. These old stories. I have these original issues, and to be honest with you, to this day, all these years later, I never gave a rat's ass about the Doctor Strange stuff. I was a Nick Fury guy. Love Nick Fury. Nick Fury's shirt ripped off a lot in these comics, but this was a nice arc. As you can see, it's a long arc. I'm kind of flipping to get to the main meat and potatoes here, but he's battling Hydra. These covers were so cool, though. Here's Operation Brain Blast, the strangest, most spectacular super menace ever to threaten Nick Fury and his agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But, you know, like I said, this was like a whole long continuation, because it was, the Strange Tales was done like a serial. And, you know, it continued. Operation Brain Blast, there's Fury. Well, I've seen everything says, let's find out together next-ish. There's, again, who strikes at S.H.I.E.L.D. And Nick Fury's outfit has never changed. His blue pants and his white shirt, he's maintained them here. Eventually that does change, because he's, the fact that what didn't change is he was always fighting Hydra, you know, and then to free a brain slave. Here we go again. Still, you know, he's the brain slave. How will they win? But the Howling Commandos are on the case in flying scooters. And like I said, this is very much a 100% Cold War spy action kind of book, which I think is why I liked it. Because, I mean, I wasn't like a huge Bond fan, but there's something about the book. It just really resonated. I really, really liked it. There's the Druid. And Nick Fury still, see, he's with Dum Dum. They just got him free. He's in his little special car that has all kinds of crazy weapons. And Colonel Fury. Now, is this Bond or Get Smart? The egg shall hatch. Now Hydra's got all the fake Nick Furies, and I'm kind of speeding a little quicker. Here, Nick Fury finally. A lot of the running gag in these old books was the hero always lost his shirt. Now we've got Iron Man and Captain America teaming up with you got Captain America's here helping out Nick Fury. They kind of introduced each other. Well, they knew each other, but Nick Fury's kind of like, wow, this dude has not aged, because, you know, he was frozen. But Fury and Cap always made a good team. The Return of the Red Skull. But that cover featured, you know, Doctor Strange. But there's Fury and all of them. They're still doing their underwater shenanigans. Dum Dum got the stash. He was in the first Captain America movie. Believe Neil McDonough played him. Enemy Within. See, we're still cooking. Like I said, it's a serial, so forgive me if I'm going quicker. I'm trying to show you all this, well, you know, why it was so popular, and why this book is, even if you had to shell out a couple hundy, why you're getting your money's worth, because a couple hundy, that may get you a lower graded copy of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1, definitely a raw one. And there's Fury, he's still, blah, blah, blah. Another Doctor Strange cover. Hydra lives, even though they never fucking die, pardon my language. More action with Hydra. Old school. Still has that eye patch from the shrapnel went off on his eye. Overkill, we're still going in. He always had the flying jetpack. Hail Hydra, a lot of higher stuff. This artwork in this old book, and to be honest with you, like I did All Out Pooh the other day. All Out Pooh took like a whopping 3 minutes to read. Look at all the dialogue and the artwork, and some people will say the old artwork isn't as good as today's. Okay, might not be as slick, but look at all the story you're getting here. I mean, these are half-ski issues that I'm doing. That's one of my favorite covers of Fury, and they're longer than most of the modern comics. You know, cycles, Hydra cycles have automatic transfer. Hydra goes into space a lot. They're always doing some shenanigans in space. And as we get there, we have the Strange Tales. Now we're going to get, this is Jim Steranko wrote this for the book, or not for the book, he wrote it and published in the book. What he liked about Nick Fury, why he wanted to do it. You know, he cites like how much he liked Charles Bronson. Boy, oh man, Charles Bronson. More agents, or more Strange Tales goodness here. Trying to kind of go a little quicker through Strange Tales. All these covers were great. The Vortex Beam. As I'm flipping big. Now we got Fury more in the, see I flipped too far. When we get into this issue here, Fury now, he's still wearing his plain clothes. And then he's on Hydra Island. Now, for some odd reason, maybe he stole them from Hydra. I don't know. But his yellow suit turns into like a blue and black leather suit. And this is kind of how you saw him from now on. Basically like the Punisher without the skull, that weird super suit. But Hail Hydra, they're coming for him. But this is when they kind of changed him. We're just going to leave him in the leather-clad outfit. You know, he's got the Polly Walnut style hair. Another one. Great Captain America's back in this. You know, they're battling it out. Mind control stuff. I'm going through. Still Strange Tales. See? We're just cooking. Strange Tales as we still go. This is not Strange Tales, but this is not Nick Fury. Okay, Strange Tales to be continued. And we do go into Strange Tales. And the Dragon Cried Death. This is a very good cover. Artwork was a little different here. That's why I was kind of like, I think when they remastered it there. The Yellow Curse. When comes the Black Noon? I mean, all of this. Blah, blah. S.H.I.E.L.D. dies. We're at 165 now. You know, this story has gone on for the whole thing. The whole thing. You know, the whole shebango here we're going. 166. You know, he's Fury. Like I said, I called it a serial because everything ended to be continued. So as you can see, now we're deep in one of the more iconic Steranko covers there, 167. And now we've got the oops. This is a fold out, which is pretty damn cool, even though you can't see all of it. Easter eggs there. But anyway, we go back to the comic and we go in. You know, we're still continuing. Fury's got normal clothes on now. And what do you say? Come on. You know, there we go. And the story ended. You know, what do you say? Let's go box a few rounds. You know, because Fury's asleep during this story, and it was weird. Was he asleep? Who knows? But it tells you, by popular demand, these guys are going to be in their own magazines. And here it was. Who is Scorpio? This is the famous issue. This is Nick Fury. They're all famous. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. issue 1. This is when Steranko still did it. Now you'll notice here, there's no dialogue. You know, the way he drew this was so perfect. And this guy got the drop on Fury. He shot him, but it was Fury. They're just doing some training. More training, because they think a guy named the Scorpio is going to be after him. And, you know, you can see all the way it's done. It's very psychedelic. The way everything is drawn in here is like watching an acid trip. You know, Fury's out there rocket testing. There's the Scorpio. You know, very much like a spy. You know, Fury's all over the place. He's battling the guy. He hits the version of the whatever Rey Mysterio's over-under's called. You know, hits a lot of pro wrestling moves. Everything's going. A lot of people think Scorpion might be dead. He's not dead. No. Coming into 2 now, Steranko was still doing these. You know, and you can see Like, here's what I'm talking about. Like, Fury there, he's at his lady's house. So you see the music, the rose. She's touching the rose. There's the cigar, the lips, the phone. There's the gun. There's the money shot. You know, so you know what's going on. He couldn't just do, you know, all Avatar press having sex. So he had to do the very symbolic. But these books were very good. You know, you have to read them. You know, Fury's still going in. That was an ad for Kong. And these were all kind of like, they would end, but came back again. Now Nick Fury here, he's Scottish legend. The Dark Moon Rise and the Hellhound Kills. Is, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. was all over. They weren't just, they fought Hydra. I mean, to this day they battle Hydra, but they would go to other places. You know, here he's out on the moors. You know, he's after the Hellhound of Ravenlock. But Nick Fury's got one thing that Hellhounds don't seem to hold well against: a gun and gadgets and his boxing skills. Nick Fury is more of a boxer than a karate man. Another tour de force. Now Roy Thomas has this, you know, what he loved so much about the character. This is probably the most famous of all the covers. This is the origin issue of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, Hydra, they practicing by killing like Fury. There's like Fury robots. They think they're killing Fury, but it's all robots. Hydra's training, but really it's S.H.I.E.L.D. that's watching them. So S.H.I.E.L.D. he's getting recruited by Tony Stark's dad. That's everything, you know. Hydra goes after him. And, yeah. It's kind of like the origin of Nick Fury. Issue 5, whatever happened to Scorpio? Now, Steranko did the cover, but now he's not doing the book. All right, he may have done this one. And I forgot. I really did forget. I know he quit very early on. You know, he's wearing his patch. We've got Scorpio's back. Number 13. He's got Fury's number, boy. Or does he? With a well-placed thrust kick. Dives out the window. They face, the one guy sees who he is, but you don't find out. Now we're going into Steranko covers, but comics are a little different. Now Fury is, he's going into space. And I'm not saying these comics are bad. They're not as good. Did it deserve to be canceled so soon? Nah. There was still a lot of life left in it, in my opinion. But, you know, here's 7. As you can see, the, you know, there's still good stories. And now they're kind of becoming more continued. They're still very psychedelic in nature. Everything was. I mean, Thor had to have been created on a bad acid trip if you read those. But here's all the stuff going down. Still very good. Hydra. Flying cars. Next up was Inferno. Now we're getting not even covers by Steranko. But it's still good. It's still a spy outfit. Now, in my opinion, it started to kind of, I don't want to say it lost its luster, but it kind of started to change. Was he fighting evil spies? Was he fighting Hydra? Was he fighting superpowers? Was he fighting aliens? You know, it really started to go all over the place. Here's number 9, the hate crime. This is actually a pretty good issue, you know, because this is like you know, he's the Hitler cult, so to speak, you know, and because he was in the war, so, you know, he remembers all of it. Back in the dinosaur time. It's just really fucking weird is the best way I can say it. He's held captive. Doesn't take much to hold him captive because he can always get out and push the self-destruct button. It kind of got a little repetitive, but it was the night before Christmas. Stanley is still our editor on all this stuff, don't get me wrong. Now Fury's just more, you know, this is the Christmas episode. But once again, now in the beginning, he's in his suit. And we've got Hydra agents. Fury's after him. He gets captured constantly. He gets captured on Christmas. That's all right. He always escapes. Issue 11. Now we're kind of coming to the end. Still, you know, very disco-centric. Very fun. Very hippie-esque. I should say hippie-esque more than disco-esque. He's still battling the same Hitler group. And here he wants to do the jitterbug with his girl. I'm not saying it's not a little dated. Hell hath no fury. I mean, the covers were still nice. The comics are still good. They're just, I can see why it started to struggle. I mean, if you go through and read them, you know, come page, you know, 790, it's going to struggle a little bit. Here's the Super Patriot. No relation to what we see now in the Captain America Winter Soldier, though. Super Patriot. You know, is the Super Patriot a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Why is Fury after him? This is a very G.I. Joe inspiring there, as you can see. We're cooking towards the end. Now we've got issue 14, A Day in the Life. This is a cover that I still really enjoy. I liked a lot of these covers. It's just a typical Nick Fury. Just getting out of one mess to another with all his trick motorcycles and trick cars and disguises and, you know, nothing that great. Well, then we go, truthfully, it ain't nothing that great. The assassination of Nick Fury. Now, here's where it got a little odd. This is Bullseye, but it's not the Bullseye like we know from Daredevil or whatever you might know him from now. Mostly Daredevil. This is some other Bullseye, and they're all after him. He's just, and did they get Bullseye? You know, because we don't, did they get him? Well, let's get him back to headquarters, pick up the pieces what's left, because if you see, and I went a little bit too quickly, aim and fire, Nick Fury, pa-pow, they've killed Nick Fury, he's dead. Is he dead? The Howling Commandos are after him, boom, boom, did they get him? Is this the end? Now we go to the Avengers. Never read an Avengers book. Like the movies, don't give a shit about the comics. Marvel Spotlight on Nick Fury. Yep, it kind of tells you, you know, a little bit of his origin on film. Now we go to issue, here's the covers of the other ones. Like here's 16, 17. Now the reason these aren't reprinted, 16, 17, 18, they were just reprints of the Strange Tales. Here's a Not Brand Heck, which was very funny, and it was, you know, this was when they had Nick Fury. They parodied their own characters. Fury was in here a good handful of times. But yeah, you're probably like, what the fuck? What happened? Well, if you can hang on for a minute, I can sure tell you. Okay, so I came back because you've been hearing me talk about that book for a long fucking time. Anyway, how did Nick Fury, what happened? Was he killed? Well, no one's dead in the comic unless you're Aunt May. We've covered that. So yeah, Nick Fury was shot. Bullseye, who's not Bullseye, they brought him in. What happened? Who the fuck knows? Comic was canceled. They just decided to make the last 3 issues reprints of what you read in Strange Tales. Hence why it wasn't like if you get this, you're being cheated out of those issues. You just already read the stuff in Strange Tales. They just gave you the covers. Why do it twice? Fury was, you know, he's canceled. Low sales. Happens to anything. Happens today with comics, TV shows, everything. Planned sequels to movies. Why it didn't happen to the Nolan movies, I have no idea. They just kept making that crap. By that I mean the Batman movies. But anyway, Fury, turns out, wasn't dead. He was just shot in the head. And he came back. It was a few years later they brought him back. And he would pop up in like Spider-Man comics. He would pop up in a lot of books. He didn't have his own book. He would pop up in like, he'd try to recruit Spidey. Or he'd try to get he'd call up Cap for help. You know, it was, you know, the man behind the scenes kind of thing. And then they did the, in the 80s, I said earlier, they did Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. And that sold through the roof. That was like so well done. You know, let's try it again. Let's do new Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's fucking tanked. Fury, and I loved Nick Fury. And I still love these comics. Nick Fury really is, unless, like, Strange just knew what to do. So he was better off as half of a book or as, like you see him now, more of a supporting character. Like I said, Nick Fury has always been popular. You know, there was the movie with Hasselhoff. You know, he was in the greatest Marvel cartoon ever, that 90s Spider-Man animated series. Nick Fury popped up in a bunch of those. Nick Fury still pops up in a bunch of stuff. You know, he's in the movies now, very prominent. Sam Jackson. This is Nick Fury and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is the original run of Nick Fury. Everything's here. All the Strange Tale stuff, all the comics, the whole run. You can see it's psychedelic, it's trippy, light years ahead of its time. So good. It's out of print, but if you can pick it up, probably find it for $200 or under. Pick it up, because one or two of these original issues is going to set you back more than this Omni. This is your chance to read it. And looking through it, I hope you enjoyed it. You know, let me know how you like these reviews. Am I going too fast? Am I not going fast enough when I flip through them? Should I read some of the dialogue? More zoom-ins? Let me know what you think in the comments. So please leave a like and comment. Tell me if you prefer David Hasselhoff, Nick Fury, or Sam Jackson, Nick Fury. And please, I ask you to give me a like, give me a subscribe, and we'll talk back at you tomorrow.